Jay is the current pastor at Hope Presbyterian Church. He enjoys working with the interreligious community in the Chicago area. Pastor Jay has found songwriting a refuge for expressing thoughts that sometimes are conveyed best through music. Pastor Jay, thank you for being with us tonight.
You're welcome. My whole face is taking up. There we go. Okay. Hey, I gotta admit, I'm from California, and I'm not much of a parade person. The cities are kind of spread out in California, and so we don't tend to have a parade in each town, and certainly, believe it or not, not on the 4th of July. So when I first came to Illinois, and specifically to Wheaton 17 years ago, and people invited me to the 4th of July parade, I didn't really know what to expect, and I certainly did not, it was not my instinct to go. And the things that were hard, I think Connor was 3 months at the time, my son, and my daughter was 3. But sitting on that hard side of the road and waiting for the parade to come down, that was one thing. But then it was the heat on July 4th. And you just would be drenched. And, you know, I'm from California, so it's more of a dry heat out there. So I had no idea what all this perspiration and it just is sitting through this parade as every fire truck and band in the whole tri-state area came by you. So luckily at some point I realized that there was a Baptist church on the side of the road up there, and they were giving out free hot dogs for Jesus. Now, I left the Baptist church a long time ago, but I love the one thing we have in common still is we love hot dogs together. So I walked down to the side. I thought the best thing in life is free hot dogs, right? So if I'm going to be next to this parade, I might as well get a hot dog. So I walked down there. And as I was getting a hot dog, you're having these kind of circus performers go by you and trucks and police cars. And all of a sudden it became deathly quiet. And I was holding my hot dog and I thought, what has happened? Something's happened. Everything's gone on mute in the parade. And I looked back, and this was maybe 7 years ago. And there was 2 pastors that I knew in the community walking down the center of the road with a P flag sign. And it was dead quiet, uncomfortably quiet. Now, I remember, I told you I'm from California, so I was raised near the Bay Area. So I suddenly realized these Midwesterners, they don't know how to handle this. And I saw these 2 pastors coming down, and I'm sure there might have been some other folks there, but it was very few. I suddenly jumped out on the road with my hot dog and started talking to them as I walked. And it was so quiet. I wouldn't say it was a hostile crowd, but such a strong feeling of almost of a funeral procession going through this. And in front of you was, you know, the Little League team, and behind you were all of the grocery stores with their carts doing dances behind you, and in the middle was this bubble of silence going down the road. Well, fast forward about 6 years from that day, and I found myself in a church that wanted to walk in the 4th of July parade, and specifically with P-flag. And so I thought, look, I don't like going there. It's so hot. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But I do believe in the equality and dignity of all people. I am from the Bay Area, so I want to help the Midwest get along with the program here. So I decided to go. But I still don't like parades. And as I was walking there, I realized that I was walking past all of my neighbors, all of the people who had been in a church I'd been in the past, who did not know I supported gay rights. And they were all coming up and hugging me and waving at me and saying, "Hello, Pastor Jay." And I suddenly realized they thought I was going to the grocery store exhibit or to the fire truck, and that I was doomed because that is not where I was going. I was walking farther down the street to the P-flag group. And as I walked, I thought to myself, I just don't need this in my life. I don't need the feeling of being awkward or people disliking me I don't know why I'm doing this. It's super hot. And so I called my sister, my older sister, who is on this call tonight, but who I hear is wearing her pajamas. So she's just listening, but she is there from what I've been told. My sister gave birth to her second child to a beautiful baby boy named Riley Burkamp, who ended up coming out as gay as he got older. And I said to my sister, I'm going to this parade to support gay rights. Can you tell me anything about what you think about this? Like, give me some support, because I'm walking through all these people who think I'm going to like a Jesus festival, but I'm not. And she said, Jay, let me tell you something. You don't know what it's like to have your son whom you love to be called an abomination. And she says, you don't know what it's like for people in your church to say, well, I just tolerate your son. I'm glad he comes to church because I'm willing to tolerate him. And I became so angry, a family kind of angry, that my nephew was treated this way. At the time, my sister was in a United Methodist church, so I'll throw them under the bus, right? Baptists give good hot dogs, and United Methodists are working through this decision on their own. Then I became inflamed with saying, damn it, I am going to walk in this parade, and I'm going to walk with pride, because it is not okay to still treat people this way. And certainly not my nephew. And as I talked to my sister, who had not really found a support group for herself, I was going to do it for my sister, walking through the experience she had said. So I got to the PFLAG group. I was already drenched in sweat. They were all dressed in wonderful clothes. It was a happy atmosphere. And one of the people said, don't worry, Pastor Jay. It's not so bad. It won't be so bad. There's just a crazy guy at the end. And he stands up and he's crazy. But beyond that, it's not so bad. Well, let me tell you, there are many hard things we do in life. And there are decisions where we decide what kind of a human being we are, or we find our humanity. But Neil Diamond helps all those things. And as we began to walk down this road, a truck behind us with speakers began to blast Neil Diamond. And as I heard Coming to America playing, I was filled with energy and a supernatural power of God that said, if Neil Diamond is with me, and I know Neil Diamond is with the LGBTQ community, then damn it, I can do this. And so I held my sign up above my head, and I was raised Baptist, so I don't have any rhythm, but I tried to sway left and right and copy people in front of me. And I walked down this street, and let me tell you, it was night and day between the funeral I had experienced 7 years before in the Emerald City called Wheaton and now. In that there were people all up and down the street, and there were still all sorts of different people, but that they waved, they cheered, and there were times where there was a little bit of silence, but a respectful silence. And there were people who saw me from different churches, there were people who saw me from my neighborhood, and they applauded. And what I realized is that between those 6 or 7 years, that the awareness and the expansion of our humanity had changed regarding folks who are not in the LGBT community, from saying and talking about them to talking about us. And I realized as I saw people out there, and some of them look kind of tough, some of them look like, I won't get political here, but they look like they're from a certain place. They're kind of tough. They still wave their flags for me. And I realized, because now we realize that we are LGBTQ. That is, our families have members within them who have come out, and our churches have people who have bravely come out for years, or our workplaces have people who have come out. And it is no longer talking about them. It is now an acknowledgement that to deny people in the LGBTQ community is to deny ourselves, and it's to deny our nephews, and to deny our brothers and sisters, and to deny the very people that we love. I remember, really, besides dropping Neil Diamond's name, there's only two decisions you need to make in life, and that is whether you like Sean Connery or Roger Moore in the 007 films. This is an important decision I hope you figure out by the end of tonight. But I'm a Roger Moore guy, and the first Roger Moore film I saw was Live and Let Die, with St. Paul McCartney singing the theme song. And in the very beginning, they're in the Big Easy and down south, and in New Orleans, and there's a dirge of a funeral coming down the street. And they have two FBI agents sitting there trying to figure out what's going on, how to stop this or whatever. And what it is, it's a subversive dirge or funeral, because as soon as they come by and the folks who change their minds, the funeral erupts into applause and into a Mardi Gras procession. There's a part in the scriptures that says that our mourning will be turned into dancing. And in many ways, that's what I experienced that day, and still experience, is that which we fear, not only those who are estranged in our society, but more so that we worry that we'll be estranged for standing up for them, that those days are changing, and that it is no longer them, it's about us. And you know what? Even that day, and it was still a hot day. I think a few people in our parade like fainted and were in the car. But even that day, that crazy guy, he must have gotten his hair cut somewhere, because he wasn't even there. And so as Bob Dylan said, the times they are changing. Amen, amen, and amen.